If you're wondering which cameras for YouTube are worth your money, stick around. After we run through each product, I'll give you my personal take. Would I buy it or would I skip it? No fluff, just my honest opinion. Let's get into it. Nikon Z50 II. This little beast packs a 20.9 megapixel APS-C sensor that'll make your YouTube videos look crisp enough to see your subscribers' tears of joy. Plus, it shoots 4K at 60 frames per second, which is faster than my motivation disappears on Monday mornings. The autofocus can track 9 different subjects automatically, which sounds impressive, until you realize it still can't track my will to live, and at $900 it's cheaper than therapy but probably won't fix your daddy issues. Would I buy it? Maybe. It's a solid upgrade from your phone camera, but the competition is tougher than a $2 steak. Panasonic Lumix S5 II. This full-frame monster shoots 6K video at 30 frames per second and has unlimited recording time thanks to its built-in fan, making it perfect for those 3-hour unboxing videos that nobody asked for. The face detection autofocus is stickier than my ex's Instagram stalking habits, and the image stabilization is so good, it could probably steady my life choices. But good luck explaining to your landlord why you spent rent money on a camera that costs more than some people's cars. Would I buy it? Yes, if you're serious about YouTube and have deep pockets, this thing is more reliable than my internet connection during important Zoom calls. Sony ZV E102. Sony basically said, let's make a camera for people who talk to themselves professionally, and nailed it with features like product showcase mode that automatically focuses on whatever crap you're trying to sell your audience. The autofocus is stickier than peanut butter on the roof of your mouth, and it shoots 4K at decent quality. But the battery life is shorter than a TikTok attention span, and you'll be swapping batteries more often than I change my mind about my life goals. Would I buy it? Yes. It's literally designed for YouTube creators and costs less than a semester of film school, while being infinitely more useful. Fujifilm XM5. This compact camera shoots 6.2K open gate video, which sounds fancy until you realize most people will watch your content on their phones anyway. And the 26.1 megapixel APS-C sensor produces colors so vibrant they make Instagram filters look like black and white television. The autofocus works well enough for most situations, but sometimes acts like it's having an existential crisis, and the optional cooling fan makes it sound like a tiny jet engine, which is either cool or annoying, depending on your tolerance for mechanical white noise. Would I buy it? Maybe. It's got great specs, but feels like it's trying too hard to be everything to everyone. Like that friend who claims they're good at everything, but is actually mediocre at most things. Fujifilm XS20. This little powerhouse delivers excellent image quality in a form factor smaller than my patience during software updates, and the in-body image stabilization works so well, you could probably film during an earthquake and still get usable footage. The autofocus is decent, but not mind-blowing. Kind of like that restaurant everyone says is pretty good, but you wouldn't drive across town for it, and at under $1,300 it won't completely destroy your credit score. Would I buy it? Yes, it's the perfect travel companion that won't judge you for filming yourself eating street food at 2 a.m., and the price point hits that sweet spot between I can afford this and I won't regret this purchase. DJI Osmo Action 5. Pro. This little beast shoots 4K at 120 frames per second and has a battery life that lasts up to 4 hours, which is basically longer than most YouTube videos and definitely longer than my attention span. The downside is it lacks that fancy 5.3K resolution that GoPro offers. So your pixel peeping friends might judge you harder than a reality TV show. Would I buy it? Yes. Because who needs 5.3K when you can film for 4 hours straight without your camera dying like my motivation on Monday mornings? Sony ZV E1. This full-frame beauty delivers stunning 4K at 60 frames per second with 10-bit color depth, making your YouTube videos look more professional than your actual life choices. However, this thing overheats faster than my laptop running Chrome with 47 tabs open, and with only 12.1 megapixels, your photography game will be weaker than decaf coffee. Would I buy it? Maybe. It's perfect for YouTube, but might leave you hanging when you need those crispy stills for your Instagram that nobody follows. Panasonic Lumix GH7. This micro four thirds monster records internal ProRes RAW and can shoot 1080p at up to 300 frames per second, making slow motion content smoother than my pickup lines. The downside is that micro four thirds sensor gets more shade than a vampire convention, and the camera body is bulkier than a 90s cell phone. Would I buy it? Yes, because unlimited recording times and professional video features make this the Swiss Army knife of cameras, even if it's not winning any beauty contests. Canon EOS R8. This full-frame lightweight champion has absolutely superb autofocus that tracks subjects better than my ex tracked my social media, and delivers sublime images straight out of camera. The problem is it has no in-body image stabilization, a battery smaller than my patience, and build quality that feels like Canon was trying to save money for their executive bonuses. Would I buy it? Maybe. The image quality is chef's kiss perfect, but using it feels like driving a Ferrari with bicycle brakes. Nikon Z30. This little beast shoots 4K at 30 frames per second with zero crop, which makes it better than Sony ZV1 that crops your footage like it's trying to give you a haircut. The autofocus is so good at tracking faces and eyes that it never misses. But good luck finding native DX lenses because Nikon apparently forgot to make more than 3 of them. Would I buy it? Maybe. It's perfect for YouTube if you don't mind hunting for lenses like you're playing Pokemon. GoPro Hero 13. Black, the new 1900 mAh. Enduro battery lasts up to 2.5 hours of 1080p recording, which is great until you realize it's completely incompatible with older GoPro batteries because apparently backwards compatibility is for peasants. The interchangeable lenses give you unique looks, but mounting them is trickier than solving a Rubik's Cube while blindfolded. And good luck switching lenses on the fly during a vlog. Would I buy it? No, unless you enjoy spending more money on accessories than the actual camera costs. Insta360 X4. This 360-degree camera lets you reframe your shots in post like you're a time-traveling editor. But the mandatory post-processing means you can't share anything immediately because the camera basically says, "Not my problem, figure it out yourself." The low-light performance is so bad that shooting in slightly dim conditions makes your footage look like it was filmed through a dirty sock. And those exposed fisheye lenses are more fragile than my self-esteem. Would I buy it? Maybe. If you love spending hours in post-production and never shoot after sunset. Canon EOS R6 Mark II. This camera shoots 40 frames per second in burst mode and has full-width 4K at 60 frames per second with no crop, making it faster than my internet connection and more reliable than my dating life. The internal body image stabilization works great with telephoto lenses, but the 24.2 megapixel sensor is lower resolution than some smartphones, and at nearly 2 years old, it's already getting outpaced by the competition. Would I buy it? Yes. It's a workhorse that handles everything you throw at it, even if it's not the newest kid on the block. Sony ZV12. This pocket-sized vlogger shoots 4K up to 30 frames per second and has a built-in 3-stop neutral density filter that's more convenient than my excuses for being late. The controls are so tiny and sensitive that you'll accidentally change settings more often than you change your underwear, and the zoom is noisier than a construction site during recording. Would I buy it? Yes. It's the perfect throw-in-your-pocket-and-go camera. Just don't expect to use it with gloves on. DJI Osmo Pocket 3. This tiny beast shoots 4K at 60 frames per second and has tracking that follows you around like a clingy ex, but good luck using it in the rain because it's about as waterproof as a paper towel. The 1-inch sensor makes your low-light YouTube videos look crisp, while the gimbal keeps things smoother than my pickup lines. Though at $519, it costs more than my first car and requires the delicate handling of a newborn baby. Would I buy it? Yes, because sometimes you need a camera that fits in your pocket and doesn't make you look like a tourist with a massive setup. Canon PowersShot 510. This little vlogging machine has a flip-out screen and built-in stand that makes setting up easier than assembling IKEA furniture. But the battery dies faster than my motivation on Monday mornings with only 20 minutes of 4K recording. The face tracking works great for talking to yourself on camera, while the overheating issues mean it shuts down more often than a government website during tax season. Would I buy it? Maybe. It's perfect for short YouTube videos, but you'll need more backup batteries than a doomsday prepper. Canon EOS R50V. This compact mirrorless camera delivers pro-level image quality that makes your content look like you actually know what you're doing. Plus, the silent shutter means you can film without waking up your roommates. The autofocus is faster than my ability to come up with excuses, and the flip-out screen lets you check if you have food in your teeth while recording. But there's no viewfinder, so good luck seeing anything in bright sunlight. Would I buy it? Yes, it's the perfect balance of professional quality, and I can actually afford this pricing for serious YouTube creators. Nikon Z63. This full-frame powerhouse shoots internal 12-bit RAW video at 60 frames per second and has autofocus that works in lighting darker than my soul. but it sacrifices a full stop of dynamic range compared to its predecessor, because apparently you can't have nice things. The pre-capture feature saves images from before you even press the shutter, like some kind of time-traveling wizard. Though the electronic viewfinder is so good, it makes reality look disappointing. Would I buy it? Maybe. It's overkill for most YouTubers, but if you want to flex on other creators with cinema-quality footage, this is your weapon of choice. Sony Alpha 6700. This APS-C camera finally gives you a proper touchscreen and articulating display after Sony apparently discovered that people like to actually use their cameras. But the menu system is still more confusing than trying to understand cryptocurrency. The 4K recording at 120 frames per second makes your slow-motion shots look buttery smooth, while the subject detection autofocus is smarter than most of my subscribers. Though the lack of a joystick means navigating settings feels like playing a video game with a broken controller. Would I buy it? No. It's technically impressive, but using it feels like fighting the camera instead of creating content. And life's too short for that kind of frustration. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you pick the cameras for YouTube for you. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. Links to all of these products mentioned in this video will be in the description.